Hi, my name is Father Dan Cambra, and I'm a Marian of the Immaculate Conception, the religious community that operates the National Shrine of Divine Mercy here in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And today I'd like to talk to you about a very precious, particular soul, Blessed Jacoba de Settesoli. Blessed Jacoba is not exactly one of those saints known by thousands upon thousands, but if you're a true devotee of St. Francis of Assisi, if you've made the difficult pilgrimage to Assisi, and if you've gone down those stairs to the crypt and walked past a small little box, you've probably noticed her name. Blessed Jacoba was a woman who very much was in love with St. Francis. She first met him in the year 1212, and at that time she was a wife and the mother of 2 boys. And when she sought his spiritual direction on how it was that she would achieve holiness and perfection in her life, St. Francis said to her what many priests after him have said to many of their spiritual directees: charity begins at home. The self-sacrificing love of a wife and mother was in fact the means by her sanctification, and she should be as devoted a wife as she possibly could be, and she should care for her sons and raise them up in holiness, helping them to understand their faith and their responsibility, both to love God and to love humanity. Blessed Jacoba was someone who came from a district in Italy that's particularly well known for its mustaccioli. Now it's called different things in different places, but this little puff pastry filled with honey and cream is something I know many Italians and many non-Italians love, because it's something that's still made these days. And if you go to Assisi, you'll find it as a dessert on most of the menus, because it's made in memory of St. Francis, who loved them so well. Blessed Jacoba's particular stamp on the dessert was that she covered it with slivered almonds, which was certainly a taste treat to St. Francis, who normally lived a rather frugal life. She would bring these to him, and he and the fellow friars enjoyed them immensely, as it was not something that was part of their diet regularly. When in fact he was near death, he sent for Blessed Jacoba to come into the friary and to bring him his favorite treat. And once again, she brought him a large supply, not just enough for him, but for all the friars. And she handed over the goods as she entered the friary, and she was taken directly to his bedside. She enjoyed that privilege beyond most anyone else, because she was, so to speak, his new mother. And as her husband had already died in 1217, she saw to it to the needs of the friars on a regular basis, and even provided for them a church in Rome. She was their benefactress, but more than that, she was completely devoted to St. Francis as her spiritual father. In most people's opinion, St. Francis founded the Third Order of Franciscans precisely for Blessed Jacoba, so that she would have a place within the Franciscan community. The First Order of Franciscans is, of course, the friars themselves. The Second Order of Franciscans is the nuns under the direction of St. Clare of Assisi. And the Third Order received its first member, Blessed Jacoba. She received as a gift from the Franciscans, and specifically from St. Francis, a young lamb, and she cared for that lamb as if it was her own personal pet. And each year when its wool was taken, each year when its wool was harvested, and that wool was set aside to make a tunic for Francis. And ultimately, the last portion of wool from that lamb was set aside to make a shroud for his burial. When in fact Francis was dying, he sent word for her, but she was already on her way to him, and she brought with her that very special shroud in which he was buried. She was the one who prepared his body for burial, because she was first and foremost his spiritual mother. She cared for him in her undying love. And after his death, she stayed close by his tomb. And ultimately, when she died, it was the decision of the friars to bury her closest to the tomb of St. Francis in the Basilica in Assisi, where you can still see her today. I hope that the story of Blessed Jacoba not only adds to your knowledge of St. Francis, but in a special way reminds you that each of us, according to our station in life, is called to holiness. And sometimes God calls people to be missionaries, but the vast majority of people find their sanctity in the domestic church of marriage, in the home life of wife and husband, as parents of a family raised up in holiness before God. May God bless you and all those whom you love.